and put this on here. All right, so the first challenge that we have with this resume in particular is that it's 2 columns. As it is 2 columns, it takes away from the storytelling aspect that one wants to share. And it also takes away from the order of which you show up into the market, right? So I'm actually gonna go ahead and stop sharing, and I'm actually gonna share my entire screen because I think it's time that we rewrite this resume side by side. Really, I think from a very like casual perspective. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you what your resume should ideally look like, and tell that story that you want to tell so that as that sales manager, you're able to stand out and stand out well, right? So we're going to go ahead and start here with the simple stuff. So you have your name, and then you have your contact information. And I'm going to keep your contact information is in black up there. And so I noticed from your resume that you've been a field marketing lead since 2015. Actually, Kaya, yeah, if you can send me your resume in Word, that would be great. I've already converted it, but I want to just, if it's better in Word, it's something that I can go ahead and tear apart on screen and rewrite as I've done the last couple of resumes. So first of all, the first thing that I see when I come to your resume, Josh, is I notice your education. And so you graduated from Chapman University, the class of 2014, but you've been working for the last 6 years. If I'm a Chapman graduate, I totally understand that you that you went to school, maybe perhaps at the same school that I did. I can talk about the movie Accepted. I can talk about the film department. I can talk about how cool it was to go to Bruxy and Orange and hang out on International Circle. But I'm really here today to talk to you about sales. And I'm here to talk to you today about why you would make a great salesperson for my company. So I'm gonna actually go ahead and take your education piece, and I'm gonna go ahead and send it here to the very, very bottom. So this is gonna be seen a little bit later because it's gonna be trumped by your work experience. So in the meantime, because you are a salesperson, it is absolutely important and imperative for you to tell me what your results are as a salesperson. Because if I hire you today, I want to know that my business is alive next quarter. You're the one that's going to bring in the money, bring in the customers so that I can invest more in marketing, invest more in administrative staff, expand the business, maybe rent more buildings so I can do a lot better. And so the first part that I need to see here is your career highlights, right? So what is it that you have done in your career highlights over time, right? You have shown that you're able to build a non-existent client base from 0 to 200 grand within a year. You're able to be a sole Fortune 500 sole executive working with Fortune 500 companies. You're able to increase beverage sales 9% year over year and squeeze products 16% year over year. Now, at the end of the day, I don't know if those are good numbers or not. Usually, I guess if increasing beverage sales 9% year over year tells me that you were able to increase your quota, then that's fantastic. But 9% at the end of the day is a very, very low number. If you'll allow me a sports analogy, right? If you make 9% of your shots, if you hit the ball 9% of the time, if you win 9% of your games, you're definitely not going to last in that league for very long, and you're definitely not going to be a manager of that sport for very long. And so you're going to want to be able to explain what 9 and 16% and going from 0 to 200 grand a year actually means, because the larger sales guys might be looking at what it is that you're doing and be like, well, I sneeze 200 grand a week. So what does that actually mean at the end of the day in context of what you're looking for? And so that's what you're going to explain in your highlights section, right? And so you're going to say proven sales sales professional with the proven sales professional that interfaces with Fortune 500 clients. And actually, you're going to say a proven entrepreneurial sales professional that builds books of business from scratch to 200K plus per year, with inclusion of Fortune 500 clients. Right, and so that's the first thing you're going to say. And then you might also say cross industry experience, including food and beverage, increased sales 9% year over year, and or an average, because 12.5% year over year, meeting or exceeding 110% of quota, because people want to know whether that actually helps you exceed quota, because they want to know that if you're missing quota, that's probably not a great thing. All right, so that's good. And then maybe a third bullet point here. All right, so now that you're done with that, the next piece you're going to talk about is your core skills, right? And so what are your core skills? Your core skills are largely in the sales and account management aspect and interpersonal skills. In this case, you probably should focus on your technical skills, because you're going to want to have the ability to talk about all the sales tools that you have in there, the productivity tools that you have in there, and then also the languages that you speak, right? So now that it tells me, okay, you're able to build a book of business from scratch. Hey, Eric, how's it going? Here's how you take your tools out there into the market and how you kick butt, right? And then once you're done with that, you're able to copy out through your work experience, and that tells us more of the story of who you are, right? And so I'm actually gonna kill those lines in between up here, and yeah, and so this is how your resume will kind of look as you go along. And then finally, I noticed you have a piece here called projects and hobbies, and so I don't quite know whether these hobbies are going to be hobbies or going to be projects that may matter for the jobs that you're looking for. However, if you are entrepreneurial and you're looking to get into a new space, or a company is looking for someone to get into a new space, you may be that perfect person for them. So instead of saying projects and hobbies, because people don't generally care about your hobbies until they hire you, we're going to actually go ahead and create a new section for you called other experience. And why do I call this other experience, right? Other experience is meant to really state what it is that you do in addition to your day-to-day sales career, and takes who you are to the next level, because it shows me that you don't just come to work and then you go home and then you go to bed. You come to work, you go home, and you're continuing to think about how to make this world a much better place, right? And so now looking at this resume, I see the story flow a little bit better, because you're telling me your career highlights, your technical skills of how you do what you do, the relevant experience that you've had to get you there, right? As an AE, a territory manager, and as a field marketing team lead, and then stuff that you've done in addition that makes you a qualified person, and then where you went and got your education. And now that I see that, I'm like, okay, instead of your education here being the core focus of what it is that you do for work, you are instead focusing on what it is that you actually do for work, and your education component is what makes you an even better candidate, because you went to a solid university at Chapman, right? And then so the final thing I want to take a look at is how you portray your work experience. And so I'm actually going to get rid of key accomplishments here as I copy and paste them over, because they actually don't necessarily matter as much. Because people know that when you talk about what you did at work, they are already your key accomplishments, right? So what you need to do a little bit more of here is is add in the verbs to describe what it is that you've done in the work that you've done. So, you say facilitated, increased, work alongside. So maybe collaborate with marketing executives, right? Is a much stronger verb than work alongside. You went from non-existent client base to generating 200K sales in a year. You were the sole account executive working with FedEx national offices, among several other Fortune 500 companies. You definitely need to name who these Fortune 500 companies are, because people want to know, like, are you able to talk to the big fish, and what do people want to know about that? So I would absolutely encourage you to go through that and make sure that you stand out there too. Create new relationships with major universities in the Pacific Northwest to supply branded merchandise. How much merchandise did you supply? How much were you able to put out there? Facilitated distributor relations with management of large grocery chains. Act as a major driver of brand awareness. What kind of brand awareness were you able to drive? How many more people were going into grocery stores because of you with Mama Chia, right? So that's also important to know. And then finally, as the field marketing manager, you were able to coordinate and execute field marketing demos. How many were you doing per day at local businesses? How many local businesses? Events, build brand equity, and form strategic alliance with similar lifestyle brands. And so when you form those strategic alliances, were you able to generate even more additional revenue? If I want to hire you, I want to know, like, I can bring in Josh, and Josh is going to do a bang up job, and he's going to help me bring in more brands to help bring those alliances. But how much revenue are those alliances going to bring me? All right, so that's it for this one.